nothing worthwhile. The recognized symbol of excellence in crappy podcasting.
Oh, Jean Marie, you're a stitch. No, Mom's gonna do the turkey. Yeah, Dad wants ambrosia, so I guess we gotta get those miniature marshmallows. And I'll do the crescent rolls, and you do the cranberries. You know I can't cook. Oh. Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Gobble, gobble. Oh, bye-bye. Welcome to Marathon. May I help you?
Yes.
How may I help you?
You can start by wiping that fucking dumbass smile off your rosy fucking cheeks. Then you can give me a fucking automobile, a fucking Datsun, a fucking Toyota, a fucking Mustang, a fucking Buick, 4 fucking wheels and a seat.
I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me.
And I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. And I really didn't care to fucking walk down a fucking highway and across a fucking runway to get back here to have you smile at my fucking face. I want a fucking car right fucking now.
May I see your rental agreement?
I threw it away.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, what?
You're fussed.
Looks little,
Amy,
but she's not.
What's up?
is that wine in a box?
Mm-hmm. I've read too.
You've read too.
Yeah.
Is this guy ever going to shut up?
Please watch the movie.
Stop. No, that's not right. Don't do this to me.
Why is he yelling?
Listen, you always do this to me. You show up to these places, you put me in a situation. I'm a big guy. Everybody wants to fight the big guy.
Yeah, you are.
Hey, Mark Wahlberg, shut your bitch up.
Mark Wahlberg? Me?
Who else looks like Mark Wahlberg? Your girl?
Mark Wahlberg's like 150 pounds. I'm 250 lean. I look like Mark Wahlberg ate Mark Wahlberg.
Your muscles aren't the fucking problem.
Do you
It's
even
your
live?
yapping girlfriend.
Just say fuck you.
I will fuck you, all right? I will enter you.
You're gonna enter me? Did you hear what he said?
What are you talking about right now?
I'm just trying to intimidate him.
You're just talking about raping him.
You're not about that life, champ. I can see it.
Oh, I am about that
No,
life.
you're not. You
No,
just
no,
like
no.
to
I will
flex your
get
muscles.
crazy up in here. You like movies? We'll make a movie.
Oh, God.
We'll make Mama Say Knock You Out, starring my fist in your dick hole.
Oh, shit. The fuck is wrong with this dude?
He wants you. Babe, your threats, I'm telling you, they're super gay.
Too sexual?
Yeah.
This has to be the corniest muscle white dude I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Okay, Coco Beware. You know what? You're being an asshole, all right? You know what I do with assholes? I lick them.
Okay.
What
Okay.
the fuck?
He wants to fuck you.
Okay?
My pooch has been hurt more than enough.
I will make sure no one ever hurts your pooch again.
I like when you're taking control of your dogs.
I thought you were.
Oh, my God. What did I miss?
Amy, what did I miss?
They pre-butter it.
Who's Brody?
What?
Who's Ollie? Who's Brody?
Why do you make cell phone?
Why are you smiling?
I got a little high outside, like barely at all high.
Okay, while you were outside getting high, I was putting your phone on silent for the movie, and when I did that, I noticed you have all these guys in your phones. Brody, this guy listed as hot as balls. Who the fuck is hot as balls? Stop smiling.
I'm not smiling. Those are guys from work. Can we just watch this movie?
You know what? No, I can't. Because as I was turning off your phone, I got a picture of somebody's dick.
It was mine.
You know, fuck you, Tone Loc. You want to take it to the parking lot? Fine. You can't find me, I'll be the closest one on Grindr.
That's gay.
Los Angeles. You know what, wise man?
Yes, my tribal chief.
I don't care about any of them. You see, it's not their turn. It's yours. Cody Rhodes. Acknowledge me.
Let's leave Chicago to the Eskimos. That town's a little bit too rugged for you and me, you bad girl. Rolling down Imperial Highway, the big nasty red out of my side. Santa Ana winds blowing hot from the north. We were born to ride. Roll down the window, put down the top, crank up the Beach Boys, baby. Don't let the music stop. We gonna ride it till we just can't ride it no more. From the side bay to the valley, from the west side to the east side, everybody very happy, 'cause the sun is shining all the time. Looks like another perfect day. I love LA.
Welcome to Nothing Worthwhile, episode number 105. On today's show, we're live from Los Angeles with our Nothing Worthwhile WrestleMania 39 reaction. Our road to WrestleMania started Friday at 3:45 a.m. in a nearly 6.5 hour Odyssey car ride, hitting Los Angeles for Wrestlecon, then climbing over some homeless encampments, walking 1.1 miles to the Crypto.com arena for Friday Night Smackdown. And if that wasn't enough, we watched the 2023 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, including Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania. Let's bring them in. Our resident WrestleManiologist, Andrew Gutierrez, sitting across this very table from me. How are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm exhausted and I'm drained. All of the above, but I'm doing very well tonight. How about yourself?
Well, it's been a near 5-6 day jaunt for the WWE and WrestleMania.
Sure has.
So let's, before we hit WrestleMania, let's bring back to some of the earlier festivities. We'll hit them up in chronological order.
All right.
This year, Biltmore Hotel, Wrestlecon 2023. Got a chance to specifically sit down and meet and get photos with, Mickey James, Kurt Angle, Devon Dudley. What'd you think of 2023 WrestleCon?
It was good. I mean, it's strange. I think we both had the same feeling walking out of there. I loved talking to Devon. He was talking to us about some cool stuff. Not that we're gonna say what he was talking about on here.
We can.
Why are you looking at me like that?
We could.
He was talking to us about his relationship with Bubba Ray.
That's right.
Which is it's just really cool that we were talking about that. Mickey James was a sweetheart, and she's great. You know, she's great talent. And who's it? Oh, yeah, Hall of Famer, Kurt Angle. So, meeting him was great. But, there was something missing from it. I wasn't exactly pleased with the layout of the hotel. We've been to some where you know exactly where to go and what to do and who's where. This was, we got lost everywhere. And the 3 rooms that they were available weren't anywhere really near each other. So sometimes we would walk around a room and then say, hey, let's go to the other room, and then get lost and then end up in the same room that we started in. So, we spoke briefly about it walking out. It's like the ones that we are, really high on that we haven't met yet or had this experience with, the numbers are dwindling, I guess. We spoke about that briefly. It was fun, but, there was, I don't know, something didn't hit on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. WrestleCon's usually my favorite fan event to go to. Sometimes it's my favorite event in the whole WrestleMania weekend. I thought the layout was a bit wonky. We had to go upstairs, downstairs. Usually the rooms are sort of adjacent to each other. So it took us a while to figure out where exactly what room the different wrestling personalities were in.
Right.
And some of the big names had already left by the time we got there, and it just I agree. Something for the first time felt a little bit off about WrestleCon.
Yeah, I mean we've really met all of our favorites. As far as past favorites, I mean we would choose anybody in the WWE locker room at this point. To meet, we would, there's so many names there, but they don't show up to these things during WrestleMania weekend or ever really until they don't work for the company anymore.
Yeah, plus my feelings were hurt. Rick Steiner said some really nasty stuff to me, and I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I had your back, but then I kind of saw him and said, you know what, I'm not fucking with this.
Yeah, and he said, nobody has your front, and I think that the whole argument went downhill from there.
Yeah, I don't know if we were there when this took place, but I don't even know what day it took place, actually.
I think it was day one, referring to some of the blogs and wrestling sites said Rick Steiner apparently made some transphobic comments to a TNA Impact wrestling star that's trans. And
what's her name?
Giselle Shaw, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that was the wrestler's name. And it wasn't the person I was referring to. Because there was a trans person.
Yeah, I saw.
But this
wasn't her.
No, this was a different personality.
Well, that's, if true, that's, I think actually, didn't Rick Steiner apologize or something, or didn't he release some kind of statement?
Yes, he did.
So he did it. You know what? That's the wrong thing to do. Bad timing, bad everything. Not a good attitude. But you know what? You come right out and say, hey, I did it. I own it. And I'm sorry about it. And hopefully he'll, he won't get destroyed. I mean, I would say, I don't know. What do you think? Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, if he made inappropriate comments to any individual, he'll have to suffer the consequences, which I believe he was already banned from WrestleCon from attending any future events. So,
I would say that's a tad excessive if he apologized immediately instead of trying to duck it or
Yeah, I'll leave it.
You leave it alone?
I'll leave it alone.
Maybe I should have left it alone.
No, I don't have a feeling on it really anyway.
Okay,
I mean, you got to suffer the consequences.
All right, I'll give you that.
Today's climate, if you make inappropriate comments. We then, Groo got the clearance, spoke to the hotel, said, hey, you guys should be a fairly safe walk from the hotel to the Crypto.com arena. Just want to give a small shout out to Subway. Tuna, salt, pepper, chipotle sauce sustained me all the way to Crypto.com arena, where let's talk about initially Friday Night Smackdown. What were your thoughts on the go-home show to WrestleMania?
The show itself was exactly as my podcasting tribal god chief here predicted. It was very safe. It was very, what was the term you used?
A placeholder show.
Placeholder, yeah. It was like we gotta put our energy and focus into WrestleMania, and this is just every ticket's been sold that's going to sell. Every pay-per-view has been, or wherever they do pay-per-view anymore for these, we've sold this thing already. So it's like, let's make sure we don't get anybody hurt. Let's, don't have anybody say anything stupid or do anything stupid. And it felt like that. So I would imagine if we were sitting at home watching it, we would be like, this is a weak show. Being there live and sitting where we were sitting, I had a really, really good time. So that definitely upped it for me. But as a show, it was exactly what you said, a placeholder.
Yeah, I think actually I would feel the flip side. I think for some reason it comes off better on TV with the angles and the cuts and the announcers. But I agree with Andy's agreeance of any of my past comments. It was a placeholder show, a solid B. The promos were sharp and pretty much on point, and the segments went, as Andrew said, without a hitch. The physicality, most of the wrestlers involved were not involved in major matches or weren't even on the show. And so they kept everything going, all the momentum, and they did a good enough job.
Yes. There was nothing. There was nothing bad. There was nothing we were like, oh my God, that sucked.
No.
It was cookie cutter, which is fine.
Okay, well then moving on, we had a 15-minute break. It was kind of interesting to see how they turned around the Friday Night Smackdown set into the WWE Hall of Fame. They did it in 15 minutes. Incredible.
Very quickly.
Probably had a team of about 50 guys, red carpets, chairs. Andrew and I had the good graces. Thank you to Andrew Gutierrez. We sat literally in the second row off the floor to the side of the Hall of Fame stage. We sat adjacent to Otis. That was a lot of fun, mugging it up for the crowd.
My man.
Just going off the top of my head, Andrew, the class of 2023, Stacy Keibler, Andy Kaufman, referee Tim White, the Great Muta, and Rey Mysterio. Smaller class, following up on SmackDown. First, just give me your overall thoughts of the presentation, the 2023 Hall of Fame, and then any particular moments or any of the inductees, any specific thoughts.
The presentations were fine. The way it was set up was fine, very conducive for an arena setting. That's a different conversation. I'm not a fan of the arena setting for the Hall of Fame, but you know that. I liked how they had all the wrestlers. I honestly didn't know what it was going to look like because I'd never been in the arena. So it was interesting to see them, have all of the wrestlers, all the chairs, and everybody who was there scattered. It was interesting who was there and who was not there, and going through the people we could see. The ceremony itself actually was pretty crisp. There was nothing that really lagged. It was let's see. Stacy Keibler was fine. I think she went a little bit long, but that's okay. Foley was good in inducting her. I was thrilled to be at the induction for Andy Kaufman. I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan outside of wrestling, so that was fun. That was a nice, and very tight and short. Good video package. Great to see Jerry the King Lawler's doing okay. He wasn't there in person, but he did send a message. So he looks like he's on the mend. Thank God. He's one of our own. Who is next? The Great Muta, inducted by Ric Flair. Always a thrill to have Ric Flair in any building that we're in. Just makes it a little bit cooler for us. And that was his stories are always great. He spins such great yarns about wrestling and
about himself.
About himself. But
there to induct Great Muta, and we got a minute of Great Muta and mostly stories of Rick in Japan.
Yeah,
that's Ric Flair.
But you know what? That's Ric Flair, and he doesn't apologize for it. And and then Great Muta, hardly speaks English, so he was very short. But he did the little spit of the thing,
green mist
into the air,
yes,
which was cool. And the crowd was surprisingly receptive to everybody. I was afraid half of them were going to file out because it didn't seem like a very interesting class. To people, I'm guessing half the people there didn't know who Andy Kaufman was. And then it was Tim White. the referee, who we're all familiar with, just passed away a year ago. And his brothers did a very, very heartfelt and touching induction for him. And the video package for him just makes you see like what a part of everybody's life these guys are. Everybody, we take the refs for granted in a way. They take bumps and they take, and they get involved, and they put together they do so much. And it was so interesting to see, especially on that guy's level. So Tim White, his induction, and Rey Mysterio's was fantastic. Conan was awesome. I got to say. Conan was great inducting Rey Mysterio. Mysterio's speech was terrific, went from beginning to now. The appropriate attention was paid to son Dominic to set up a little thing for Saturday, and that was it. And it was great. It was a sharp, 2 hours, and we were out of there.
Yeah, you mentioned crisp, and I thought efficient. The Hall of Fame was an efficiently presented. I went back in 2012 when it was a standalone event that had the Four Horsemen. I saw Mike Tyson. I saw Edge was the headline for that year's Hall of Fame. This one was a more efficient and ultimately a better I think broadcast will come across. It was
Did you feel more connected to it?
Yeah, it just because instead of 9 people, you had 5. They were able to, and I agree. Some of them went a little bit long or didn't. They weren't really great speakers, but I felt overall it moved better, it flowed better, and I just thought it ended up being a more enjoyable, program. I remember sitting when it's a standalone. These guys, they could talk, and they get played off, and it's awkward and uncomfortable, and they can drag on. And I remember the Four Horsemen. All 4 of them spoke, 5 of them, and each one had 10 minutes. It could take a lifetime. So this one I felt was better. Stacy Keibler, yeah, I agree. The Mick and Tori Wilson might have droned on a little bit more about Stacy, and her own speech was a little bit wordy. But for me, Andy Kaufman was fine. Enjoyed his family speaking at the end. Great Muda. I agree with you. I don't know why, but the Tim White stuff got me. Just hearing the brothers spoke very briefly. Tim White, beyond being a referee, was a road agent, and he was typically assigned to Andre the Giant. And I think that's where the Andre the Giant, the great documentary on HBO, really does talk about Tim White and how he accompanied Andre on many of these overseas trips and all over the country, and how travel was so debilitating for Andre. But the brothers, what a heartfelt speech, and he just seemed like a really, really sweet guy. And Rey Mysterio was clearly the class, the headliner, and Conan. I think for me, the passion that he spoke about Rey Mysterio, that came through. I mean, this guy didn't just go up there and pull out some notes and read it. He was very, very passionate about Rey, groundbreaking in terms of size and presentation, especially for a WWE superstar. So overall, efficient program. I enjoyed it. Could there be better class? Sure, that's debatable. But overall, I thought it was a nice experience.
Yeah, and one more thing with my favorite thing on the whole thing, I think, was the story about Tim White that Ron Simmons told about his bar.
Yeah.
And how I didn't know that. I didn't know that he owned this bar that, that when they needed to destroy a place, they would use his bar.
Well, if they had Raw had segments that were in a bar, they typically filmed it in Tim's bar. And then, if he needed a new door or a new television, he let the wrestlers, just break the place to pieces,
And then he would get like a brand new everything, like when he needed an upgrade, he would be like, all right, you could break this TV, so he gets a new plasma or whatever. So that was a great story. But yeah, a really fun night. All
fun night, full day. We weirdly made it back to home base and got some rest for night 1. You ready to go over night 1 of WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm not going to really go through details specifically to the matches. We'll just go through them in match order. WrestleMania 39 opened up with John Cena versus Austin Theory. Before we get to the match results, what did you think of Cena and Theory just opening the show? Was it the right call?
Considering the card, I think yeah. I think they did it in the wrong way, but I think match wise, looking at the card, it was the correct move to open up with that match.
All right. Well, Andrew was referring to the match. Austin Theory defeated John Cena via pinfall to retain the United States Championship. We both had Theory for the victory.
Yes.
What'd you think of the match, and any thoughts?
I think they got off to a rough start, just bringing out Austin Theory first. I agreed with you. They should have just exploded with the Cena music, get Mania off to a huge pop, but they didn't. They brought the champ out first, and then they brought Cena with all the Make-A-Wish kids, which was very nice, very cool, but a little anticlimactic considering that it was John Cena. The match itself, too short, very rushed, not much action from Cena, and it shows what The Rock was talking about when it's like you got to get, he said the reason that he couldn't do it was because he wasn't in ring shape. He said he wasn't in proper condition. Now, if you look at him, you say, well, if that's not proper condition, then we're all screwed. But he's, there's a difference between being able to, being cut and ripped and being able to do a quality match. He didn't, The Rock said he just didn't want to just come and do a squash or a quickie.
Are you defending The Rock right now?
No, I'm just saying.
We're moving ahead to night 2 already?
No, this is the point that he was making.
You think John Cena wasn't in ring shape?
I think John Cena didn't do a very good job. I think he was a little slow. He was a little sloppy. There was ring rust. And I think that's why the match was short. And, they just kind of left him lying in the ring. It didn't fire on all cylinders. It wasn't a bad match. It just wasn't a John Cena match. It's not a match we're going to look at, these one-offs should be memorable. And this one will be memorable for the wrong reasons. I will say that Theory did an excellent job building up his heeldom, which I guess was the point of the whole thing. So, on that front, Cena, did what I guess they brought him to do. I was just looking forward to seeing more of the John Cena, and I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, didn't Theory hit him with a nut shot, I think, to double him over and then hit him with that A-Town down for the win?
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, it's hard for me to comment on the match because, unfortunately, the monitors were out.
Oh, yeah.
We were a little disconnected.
That didn't help. I forgot about that.
A little disconnected from the match. I mean, all joking or arguments aside, I can't disagree with what Andy said. Cena didn't get much offense in. That could have been by design or maybe because John was not in match shape. Cena didn't get much in. I never understand why they don't follow the well-respected combat sport rule of having the champion come out second, because I did love Cena's intro. I love, I thought the Make-A-Wish stuff was just. I had a little tear in my eye because I know John Cena is probably the number one Make-A-Wish celebrity. I think he's broken like every record. So I did like that, and yes, I'm 52 years old. I'm a John Cena mark. But I was a little disappointed. Didn't get much offense in, and night 1 was off and running, a little sluggish. Let's move to the second match, the men's showcase tag team match. It was Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. Shoes, please. Versus the Viking Raiders. Andrew, Street Profits defeated Ricochet and Strowman, Alpha Academy, and Viking Raiders via pinfall. What did you think?
Well, I'm going to admit that I don't know much about this match. There's very little that I could specifically point to, only because At first, I wasn't interested in it at all. In fact, I was planning on this and tonight's showcase being my bathroom breaks.
Excellent.
Problem being that...
Excellent strategy.
Yeah. We talked about that. But
we're a comedy show. Come on.
The problem on the first night is that this match was a barn burner from start to finish. It was always exciting. There were bumps galore. Everybody did a phenomenal job, I thought. I didn't think there was a turd in the punch bowl, for lack of a better term. It's 2 a.m. Eastern time. So what? He's staring at me like that.
Speak. What do you think? Sparing?
You look at me.
I'm trying to wait to get a break in the action and respond. So go.
It was great. It wasn't too long. The finish was really cool. And everybody looked great and did great. It was a real exciting match, and the crowd was into it. It was a terrific match.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to most WrestleMania fans, this is a throwaway match. I mean, there's very little sensible build up to this match. They're throwing together 4 tag teams. Some of the tag teams are just thrown together pretty quickly, but this match exceeded all expectations.
By far.
It ends up always being a spot fest. They do that every year, the Tower of Doom, where it's, suplexes and, 5 people are up and they fall on top of it. So those are always fun. But the spots were exciting. They went well. Ultimately, I picked Alpha Academy. Why? I mean, at SmackDown, everybody was like, they're just basically enhancement talent at this point. I'm like, well, I'm losing this one. Andrew had Ricochet and Strowman, and once Strowman won the Fatal 4-Way on Friday Night SmackDown, I told him, you're not winning at WrestleMania.
Actually, I think it was Ricochet. Oh, no, Strowman won.
Oh, you're right. No,
I think Ricochet won.
It was Ricochet, right. The Street Profits, probably the right team won. They're definitely they've been the tag team together probably the longest in the WWE, and I'm a big Montez Ford guy. I think he's very, very talented. And Angelo Dawkins might have had the spot of the night where Strowman was doing his giddy-up run outside the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And Dawkins, he dug in with a 3-point football stance and just leveled Braun. You hadn't seen that really... I don't think ever. So that was a fun spot. So Spot Fest, if you like that kind of wrestling, you like the men's showcase match.
Yeah, well, if with a match that's got no build-up and no real stakes, what else to do but a Spot Fest? So, and that's where you do it. That's where you do one of those things, and it worked out perfectly.
All right, so we both think the second match exceeded expectations. Moving on to the third match of the evening. Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. And Rollins defeated Paul via pinfall. Andrew, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul.
Well, I will say, based on this match, that Logan Paul and Seth Rollins are both in the running for my WrestleMania MVP.
Are we picking WrestleMania MVPs now?
I just immediately just thought of that because I'm thinking of how great Logan Paul was. Not so surprisingly. We know that he's good, but this he took it to another level. Rollins and he have such incredible chemistry. I know he's not hanging around, but I hope he pops in from maybe pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and he definitely has more in the tank to do against Rollins. I would love to see matches between these two. I would love to see him and Cody Rhodes go at it. Logan Paul is awesome. Seth Rollins just keeps stepping up his game every single time from the ring entrance. I loved what they did with the orchestra conductor. It was really fun. And then he's becoming this generation's HBK, like we talked about. So, yeah, great match.
Yeah, we said Seth Rollins needs a big pay-per-view victory, a big, what do they call, premium live event victory. So he got it here versus Logan Paul. I as well enjoyed this match. First of all, let's say this. Logan Paul is an upper tier athlete. He's an amateur wrestler. He's not just some YouTuber with no athletic background. And I think the match really encompassed what makes a fun WWE premium live event match. You had the entrances, which were souped up. Logan Paul on a what was that thing he came in on with the
like a zip line?
Yeah, came in on a zip line. And then you had, of course, Seth Rollins, as Andrew mentioned, with the orchestra, with the choir, the feedback in the background. Great mat wrestling, great athleticism. You throw in some fun spots with the prime guy, KSI, gets squashed on the table with Logan Paul. Just encompasses everything that you love about sports entertainment. And I do agree. I think somewhere down the line you'll see these two in the ring again. And I think Seth Rollins is off and running to a strong 23-24. I expect big things from Seth freaking Rollins
absolutely
this year.
And Logan Paul.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see to what extent Logan Paul is involved with the WWE. Did read. I try not to do too much reading actually during WrestleMania weekend. I don't want to be shaded in my enjoyment of the matches, or even when we come on do the podcast. I thought I read that his contract is up or it's nearing an end, so I'll be I think Triple H sees a lot of value in a guy like Logan Paul, so I'm pretty sure they'll get, if his contract is up, they'll get him wrapped up into a big money deal. All right, up next we have a three-way female tag team. We have Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. Now, Becky Lynch and Lita are, I believe, the women's tag team, the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions. So we have Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control, made up of Bayley, Dakota Sky, and Io Sky. Lita, Lynch, and Stratus defeated Damage Control. Andrew, what was the damage on Damage Control and Lynch, Lita, and Stratus?
Well, Damage Control, the damage is done because I think this basically spelled the end of them. If they're going to lose to two legends or two Hall of Famers who are just popping out of nowhere, we picked them to win that match.
I picked Damage Control. I don't remember
I picked Trish and Lita. Then I don't know why. I would have picked them. Maybe. Nah,
well,
whatever.
It's they're veterans. You send the fans home happy.
All right. Maybe. I kept hearing you because you say that a lot, and I kept hearing that in my head. Happy where they can, where it does no harm.
I thought, Damage Control, they came in hot off of SummerSlam, and then they've just been stuck in neutral ever since. And I thought they need a bit, first of all, they're the younger team, younger stars. They could certainly benefit from a win, but I saw it flat wrong there.
Yeah, well, either way, it wasn't a good match. It wasn't a bad match. It was a match that was fun to watch in spots. Lita looked kind of rugged a little bit.
No, she didn't look rugged. She was a tad bit slow, and Stratus was a smaller tad bit slow. I didn't, the returning veterans.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, no, I'm just emphasizing what you're. I mean, Lita, I thought really looked a little labored in spots.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't mean to sound the way this is going to sound, but
oh no.
Trish was able to hide it with some.
Please. Oh, please.
I'm sorry. She's just such an absolutely stunning woman. I can't. So I enjoed watching the match.
And there goes the momentum for the podcast.
It wasn't a great match. But there were parts that were fun because of some of the people involved. That's all. That's the best I can say about it.
Yeah.
Even Becky didn't really do much.
Listen, the best parts of the match are really when Becky and Bayley went at it. I think, obviously, Damage Control will split up. It'll be interesting to see what the two, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, can do as single wrestlers. I think obviously Bayley's the star of the group, and she's the number one heel on Raw. And, perhaps, obviously Lita is still a tag team champ, so I'm sure we'll see Lita on future shows. The rumors were Trish Stratus was going to turn heel at Mania. That obviously didn't happen. I think ultimately Lita and Trish eventually go bye-bye, and we get back down to the core group, which, Becky and Bayley could still put on a good match. Maybe those two will continue feuding. Who knows? But I think Damage Control, I think they're done. They're DOA after WrestleMania.
Yeah, and actually, I would not be surprised to see see Lita and Becky even drop the titles as soon as tomorrow night.
Could be. Yep, I wouldn't be surprised either. Actually, certainly on the probably the biggest Raw of the year.
Yeah. So.
All right, up next, I'm sure Andrew and I will both have a lot to say about it. Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio versus his son, Dominic Mysterio. Rey defeated Dominic via pinfall. Andrew, Mysterios.
Well, this is one of the best matches that I have ever watched in person. But it's the story. I am absolutely gripped by the Mysterio saga. I think both Rey and Dominic have sold this thing as well as anything's ever been sold. And the match itself was fast and fun and furious and everything it should have been, as gawky as it should have been, as
gawky,
like with the mom and the sister. That's what that means. Like kind of like a little contrived, but the appropriate amount. And it was exciting as hell. Rey, they both did just an absolute. They couldn't have asked for a better situation. So this was an absolute classic that I will never forget. I'll never forget watching this match. I loved watching it live, and I can't wait to actually watch it again, on the replay to see what it looked like on TV.
Never, ever? Ever?
What do you mean never, ever? Never, ever.
You said you'll never, ever forget this match.
I'll never forget it.
What, do you forget where the repartee? I'm like, you said.
What do you mean?
Never, ever. Never.
But you're
this guy. What happened to your sense of humor? I'm joking with you.
It's not the sense of humor. It's the fact that you're saying things that I said that I've forgotten that I said.
Oh, well, in that case,
that's it. That's it.
It's what is that, concussion syndrome? All those matches we had in the 90s.
It's been a very productive but long weekend.
All right, well, listen, I'm drinking WrestleMania sponsored C4 energy drink here at 12:15.
That's true.
12:15 a.m. Listen, I'll echo Andrew's sentiments. First of all, Dominic Mysterio's ring entrance might have been one of the best.
Oh, yes.
I could remember. I don't like to say that because I'm reacting right after a show, whether it's been 15, 2 hours or 24 hours after a show, and there's just so much WrestleMania history. But so I don't like to always, it's the, again, I'll never ever forget. It's hard for me to say that, but the Dominic entrance was positively just entrancing. The prison guards, the little teardrop tattoo, the police escort onto the WrestleMania set, uncuffing him. I mean, just amazing how they come up with this stuff. And then Rey, coming in Eddie Guerrero's lowrider with Snoop Dogg, that was a lot of fun. Andrew said gawky. I don't know if that's the right adjective that I would use, but I thought, again, similar to Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, the things that make a great WWE premium live event match were there. You had the mat wrestling, the chain wrestling, the high-flying stuff, the entertainment, the mother, the daughter. He throws a drink on his sister. She's fired up. Bad Bunny grabs, I think he grabbed something from, Dominic had a weapon, brass knucks, I think.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny, who was announcing and then of course you had Judgment Day run in, and now the Legado del Fantasma rebranded as the LWO, the Latin World Order.
Life.
Always remember Eddie Guerrero's promo on Eric Bischoff when he takes the cup of coffee and threw it on his chest and said, "There, Eric, I did it for you."
Yeah.
And, all those elements, as Andy said, with the strong story, perhaps the strongest story, debatable, going into WrestleMania, all made for a fantastic match. Ironically enough, I think we both had Dominic, so we were both losers on there.
Yes.
Happy losers.
Very happy losers.
Yeah, of course. Was very glad to see, again.
It didn't matter. I honestly didn't matter to me.
No,
the match was so good, and everything was so good, and either way they were going to take it in certain directions. Doesn't matter. But we were fine with Ray winning.
Well, here's the thing, because I just referenced, you're looking, and I say not Andy, but you're looking at your phone, you're looking at websites. So I don't like to do that, especially on WrestleMania during the card, because I want to just have the pure enjoyment as a fan. So, as a prognosticator, I thought for sure, well, give it to the young kid. He's the one who's going to have the long career, give him the big win. But it did matter to me because I wanted at the end, I was rooting so hard for Dad, and I wanted to be like a fan and just be sent home happy, Rey Mysterio beat Dominic. So I was glad to see it, even if it meant I was wrong with my prediction. And it was just a well-paced match. All the things that I talked about, I super enjoyed it.
Yeah, but see, the thing to me is that my interest in the story is the arc of Dominic. And that is why I think I wanted him to win, to see where they would go with that. But you know what? Now I'm interested to see where they go with it. That he
Are you
lost.
sure about that? Because you're having some short-term memory issues.
I am.
Yeah, you just.
What did I say?
See, he doesn't remember. Let's just. Oh my gosh.
No, but my point is, to me, that's the heart of the story. To see where they're going with him, and Ray is really there to launch him, and he did that.
Right, but as a fan, I'm not thinking about forward thinking. I'm sitting in the seats right now, and I'm thinking about. You got good guy, bad guy, wrestler A versus wrestler B, team A versus team B. Forgetting prognosticating, who am I getting sucked into, the storyline, who do I want to win? And, of course, those I'm a wrestling fan. Of course, I'm curious. I don't think this is going to be a long-term storyline in terms of physicality. There could be, father versus son. I'm sure Ray's probably not that comfortable with, or Dominic is that comfortable with physicality with their dad or his son. So I don't see this as a long-term physical thing. Could this storyline play out in other avenues? Sure. I don't know how you see it. That's just my feeling.
I see Ray joining the Judgment Day.
Well, I sure hope not. I think he's a baby face for life.
I do too. I'm kidding about that.
Another barn burner, SmackDown Women's Championship, the champion Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. And we have a new SmackDown Women's Champion. Rhea Ripley defeated Charlotte Flair to win the aforementioned SmackDown Women's Championship. Long match, ups, downs. Andrew Gruthius, what were your thoughts?
By contrast to the other match that we just spoke about, until the women got into the ring, I gave less than a shit about this match.
Come on.
There was no build-up. It was a championship match that seemed to have, to me, except the interesting part of the match before the match was obviously Rhea Ripley, but that was only because here in this story she's the babyface. And in the Judgment Day story and the Dominic story, she's a mega heel.
Okay, so
and that was fascinating.
So there
to
you
me.
go.
But that had nothing to do with Charlotte Flair until they got in the ring. I just wasn't interested in it until the bell rang. And this will also be a match I will never forget. This match was incredible.
I'll disagree though with this point. If you looked at the two women's championship matches. I'm not saying the build-up with Rhea and Charlotte was as good as Dominic and Ray, let's say, or or Rollins and Logan Paul. But they did have some decent segments, whereas Asuka and Bianca Belair, that thing was The match itself we'll talk about, but the build-up was stuck in neutral the entire time. I thought Charlotte and Rhea had some good verbal jousting, and they had some decent physical spots. I agree it wasn't a pristine WrestleMania build-up, but those two also have a history. They fought 3 years ago. They did harken back to that in some of the promos. So I thought the build-up was good, not great. I'll say that.
Okay, I mean, maybe there was some things that I didn't see. I saw highlights of it, but I maybe it's just the contrast between how I felt before the match, not that interested,
okay,
to being absolutely riveted from bell to bell. So maybe it's just the difference from point A to point B. These two women put on the best women's match I've ever seen. I can't think of anything that was better than that. The finish was fantastic. The right woman won. Rhea Ripley it's her time, and she did an incredible job. Charlotte did an incredible job psychologically. Doing her thing and doing it better than anybody else. It was a 5-star match. So maybe that's why I just wasn't that interested, and then I was beyond interested.
Okay, just trying to process everything that Andy said. I, for the most part, agree with Andy's take on the match. I don't know if I call it 5-star, but it was pretty darn close. I thought the match may have went a little bit too long, but other than that, once they got cooking, both Rhea and Charlotte, especially Charlotte, does such a great job telling a story in the ring with her looks of exhaustion and the looks. Every time she tries to pin someone and she's nearly in tears, and just by the end of the match, the look on her face, she had a nice size cut on her nose, and the way she's just able to emote, even from the ring. And I agree, it's Rhea's Ripley time. The crowd, a ton of respect for Charlotte, but the crowd was solidly behind Rhea Ripley. She was clearly, and she's just, as Andy mentioned, just done a great job. With the Judgment, that thing just really boosted her profile, and her relationship with Dominic just boosted her profile on TV for a lot of FaceTime every Monday night. And the right woman won. And curious, where do you see both ladies going from here? If you have any thoughts on that.
I think there's more money to be made with these, and I'm using that term the way Kevin Nash would. I think there's more money to be made with these two. I think we'll see them in the ring together again. They were too good together not to do that. I can definitely see Becky Lynch getting into this action. And even Bianca Belair. I'd like to see a change in her. Any of them would work well with these two, I think, with the exception of maybe Asuka. I don't see her. It's just a different style.
Ooh, that would be a hard-hitting affair, though.
Yeah, maybe it would be. Maybe it would be good. But these Rhea Ripley has shown she can be in the ring with any kind of style.
But here's
and
the
make
thing.
It work.
Here's the thing. Rhea won the SmackDown Championship, so right away she's going to SmackDown.
Right.
So now Judgment Day is typically a Raw team, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with it, or if Dominic somehow has moved to SmackDown. I didn't see Andy did the post WrestleMania press conference. She indicated that she's still a member of Judgment Day. I like that because it works, and I want to see more, and I want to see more of her relationship with Dominic. In terms of, if they want to do a blow-off match, that's fine, but I've seen Rhea and Charlotte enough. I don't know where they go. Maybe Charlotte, as I said on the the prediction show, Charlotte will go away for a little bit. Andy has said she's gone away quite a bit already. Can't deny that, but I think maybe Charlotte goes away for a little bit, or they could do the blow-off match. Rhea is going to win or keep the belt, and I think there's just fresh challenges and fresh matches to be had on SmackDown with new new opponents. And Charlotte Flair will come back after due time to find new opponents to conquer. But yeah, Rhea Ripley's time right now. But interesting, I just thought about this. She's moving to SmackDown.
Yeah. Well, and Rhea Ripley, she was adamant. I mean, she was adamant that the Judgment Day was her equal priority. I mean, it was obvious that she did not want the focus to shift entirely to the fact that she was now the SmackDown Women's Champion. Because I don't think people were asking questions about the Judgment Day, so she kept bringing it in.
Interesting.
So that was interesting.
Good loyal soldier. Before we get to the main event, we have to touch upon, perhaps unfortunately, impromptu match before the main event. The Miz and Snoop Dogg come out, and Snoop Dogg suggests that the only way to make night one even better is for the Miz, the WrestleMania host, to have a match. Out comes sometimes broadcaster, sometimes part-time wrestler Pat McAfee. George Kittle, the San Francisco 49er tight end, he got involved, and 3 minutes later, Pat McAfee defeats the Miz via pinfall. In my estimation, completely, utterly unnecessary. Just for a lot of reasons, but I'll throw it to Andy. Pat McAfee versus the Miz.
Yes, 100% unnecessary. I wish it never happened. Embarrassed the Miz, embarrassed McAfee. Poorly placed. If they had to do it, I can imagine it looking decent on paper. They probably figured McAfee would get a Royal Rumble size pop the way he did back then. But I think at that in the time of the card, right before the main event, the crowd was ready for Kevin and Sammy and the Usos, and they were I don't think they were expecting this, so there just seemed to be very little reaction to McAfee coming out, and during the quote-unquote match, I think fans were just like, this sucks. They weren't booing, thank God, but it was a waste of time. And like I said, it probably looked good on paper, but it just did not translate. And it was a misstep.
Are you ready to come to terms with your feelings about the Miz?
What are my feelings about the Miz?
I mean,
what are you referring to?
Are you ready to understand that he's firmly ensconced in mid-card slog for the remainder of his career?
You think you don't give him one more run as something?
No, if he gets it, it's going to be it's going to be.
I don't know. It seems to me like a waste of a good part of talent, meaning that you have someone who can still do it and do it almost as good as anybody else, and you're not letting them do it. I don't know. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Listen, there's no bigger Miz mark than myself, but I've come after counseling several weeks.
Then I need that counseling because I have not come to terms with my
in-depth
feelings.
Counseling. No, he's listen. I said after he got squashed by Lashley for the belt during the COVID run, I think the WWE see him as not only mid-card comedy, which is maybe worse than just mid-card. So I agree. The rumors are he'll wrestle Bad Bunny at Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. He's going to do a great job. And there's probably no better guy to work a celebrity quasi-match with than Mike Mizanin. But in terms of his future in high-profile main event belt runs, limited at best. Limited.
I'm okay with that. If you put him in matches like that with people who it's not like what we saw. Like if he puts on a great match with Bad Bunny,
he will.
And Bad Bunny will win. Now I have a question for you. Again, the memory is not working.
Oh, jeez.
We know that him and Logan Paul were a tag team. Did they ever go at it? Logan Paul went against Roman.
I believe his first match was against The Miz. He got a victory. I think he did like 1 or 2 Premium Live. He got like 2 victories, and then he lost to Roman and lost to Seth. I think that's pretty much how it's gone.
I don't remember him against The Miz, but again, my thing ain't working tonight. But either way, I think there is something to be said for that, because as we know, Logan Paul is great at this, and so is The Miz, and there's heat there. They have history. And if we're looking for something for Logan Paul to do, there's that.
Yeah. So Logan Paul did wrestle The Miz
When?
SummerSlam 2022, and he beat him.
Really?
Yeah.
I should remember that then. That was not that long ago.
To be fair, I didn't remember it either. So
all right.
maybe we both have the same problem.
All right. I'll work on it. I'm going to work on coming to terms with this.
Here's the thing. That stuck with me as well. So, that segment, it could be perceived, if you're a Miz fan, as disrespectful to The Miz. I think The Miz he's kind of used to it and made his bones with it. But it also just felt like even last year when they did the excessive, like with Vince, and that they played that whole thing out, it just they try to cram so much in, and I'm just a believer in is less and more. And irregardless, there's probably some truth to what Andy said about the placement of that prior to the main event, but they just didn't need it. They just let some stuff breathe, and they didn't need it. Need it.
Well, I know you don't deal in hypotheticals, but I'm going to give you a hypothetical anyway.
He's going to upset me right now.
No,
right
I'm
before
not.
I go to bed.
I don't think you're going to be upset.
And I need my melatonin. Go ahead, Andrew.
Do you think that if it wasn't McAfee, but it was an LA Knight, and they actually had a match, it doesn't have to be that long, but they actually had a legitimate match, and LA Knight wins, that crowd was hot for LA Knight, you think the circumstances would have been a little bit better?
Sure.
Okay.
But I don't like to
deal with hypotheticals. Okay.
But if the WWE is smart and they read the room based off of Friday Night Smackdown, LA Knight got a lot of pub during the men's battle royal.
Yeah.
And I certainly think that he should have a strong 2023. How about that?
Yes.
All right, let's close out night one. It's the undisputed tag team champions. It's the champs, the Usos, versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And I don't have the facts in front of me, but the Usos have had some crazy 600-day plus reign as undisputed tag team champions. And of course, we have new undisputed tag team champions. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens defeated the Usos via pinfall. It's your main event of night one. What did Andrew Gruthius think?
Great match. Everything we'd hoped it would be. It did the great story, possibly the best story in the WWE, and that's saying something. It did it justice. All the players did their job. Jey Uso is continuing, as my tribal podcasting god always says, is continuing day after day to show why he's going to be a main eventer. It's just a question of when.
Can I interject on some of your points?
Please.
I agree, and I thought, and this will be a little herky-jerky, but the way the match ended, the way Jay sold the hell of a kicks, almost Shawn Michaels-like crumpling into Sammy's chest, and it was just, you just felt the passing of the torch and turning a page on a story. Now, I don't say that story has to end, but that first chapter is definitely closed with that win. So I do echo. I think Jey Uso is a talented cat for sure.
That ending, just the way. I mean, it was literally like a movie coming to an. It felt that way. I heard music in my head as that last kick came and Jay just collapsed in Sammy's arms.
Yeah.
It was, and then Owens coming. Oh God, it was everything we knew it would be, like spot for spot, really almost. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes we want what we want, and we get it. And when we do, we're happy. This was one of those. It was awesome. The crowd was on fire. We were on fire. It was great. What a great match.
Yeah, I mean, I think, going into night one, the big debate was what was going to be the main event of WrestleMania night one, and we both said that it deserved to be this match. Undisputed tag belts. I can't think of ever, except for WrestleMania 1, the first WrestleMania, in which a tag team match was the main event. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did say, and I believe this was the strongest pure story going into WrestleMania. Over a year, you have the Bloodline, Usos with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso's relationship with Sami Zayn, and then of course Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' friendship / rivalry that's lasted however many years. And the way the match ended as well, when that camera shot came in tight on Sami's face, he had gotten the crap beat out of him the entire match. And then when he finally got his comeuppance and he was ready to deliver that first hell of a kick, and he had that little slight smirk on his face like, I'm going to enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
The way he, again, similar to Charlotte Flair, emoting, the way Jay just crumpled to the ground. Fans going home happy. Zayn and Owens, the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Before we get to our match of the evening, you mentioned some stuff about the tag, Zayn's and Owens. What do you foresee for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as tag team champs, and what do you foresee for the Usos? Real quick, any quick thoughts on how they move forward?
Usos should be easy. Usos, their focus is on the bloodline, and I want to see where it's going to go with them having to go back to Roman now. We saw, we'll get into it in night 2, but they have some splaining to do. So I'm looking forward to.
I've not heard you say that ever. Some explaining to do.
I'm looking forward to that. That's really the only direction I could see them. I think you think this too. They're going to break up because Jay's got to go out on his own. I think Jay's leaving the bloodline, and I think I don't see. I see the immediate future of the Usos being very short lived. I think Jimmy will hook up with Solo. And Jay will go out on his own. Kevin Owens.
You see that sooner than later. I don't. I see that later than sooner. I don't see that right away.
Not right away.
I don't think that makes logical sense, and sometimes I'm too logical when I think of my entertainment, but I see that perhaps foretelling somewhere into WrestleMania 40.
Maybe because we see, some of the, actually on the ride home, I was actually trying to make sense of some of the endings that we weren't expecting.
Okay.
And I see kind of the logic of what the WWE is doing. They are stretching things out. They know where the money is. And so I think you'll get more of Sami and Kevin versus the Usos, in the short term.
Agreed.
They know because they know there's money there. People are going to want to see the drama that they have. I just don't want them to beat it to death. That's what I'm afraid of. So I guess that's the immediate future for Sami and Kevin. Beyond the Usos, I don't really see them as a tag team. They're too good on their own.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have like a falling out though. I don't want more heel turns for I don't want them turning on each other. That always happens with Kevin Owens. How many best friends has he had at this point? Chris Jericho. Then it was who else? It was somebody else. I think their future is with the Usos. Then beyond that, they're going to go back to the singles.
I do think though the Jey Uso's promo will foretell some avenue with Zayn's and Owens' relationship. Because
which promo?
The promo on Friday Night SmackDown. He said, you talk about loyalty, and then he referenced how many times those two guys have had falling outs and clashed. And I think it's going to rear its ugly head at some point.
Well, yeah. I mean, stories retell themselves all the time. We know that, if these guys are, it's like rides at a theme park. It comes to an end and then it starts again. In many ways, and you try to do different little things, but as long as the merchandise is selling, as long as the people are keep cheering, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. So when you walk out of WrestleMania, you think like, hey, some of the stuff you're like, you know what, I don't want to see these people paired up again. But I agree. I think you could run Usos, Owens, and Zayn. You could run a couple of loops, and you could maybe pull this out for another premium live event, 1 or 2, and have them square off in main event level matches or split them up and, things of that nature. I do agree with Andrew. I think Jey Uso's future is one away from the bloodline. How they get there, not sure yet. I think it's later than sooner, but I think by WrestleMania 40, Jey Uso will be a single and will be in some high-profile match, perhaps with another member of the bloodline at WrestleMania 40.
Well, Jay's going to be fighting Sammy at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
But if he's leaving the bloodline, then I'm going to assume he's going to want to exact some kind of revenge with the bloodline, and so that's.
Yeah, there's a lot on the horizon for him, so he's in a great spot.
Yeah, we'll do another brother versus brother match, Jimmy versus Jay. So Andrew, wrapping up night 1 of WrestleMania. What's your MVP? What's your most valuable match for night 1?
The night, and I had to think about this, and the match of the night for me, it was between Charlotte and Hoochie again. Oh my God!
What the fuck is going? I want professionalism in my podcasting. Why can't I get it with this guy?
I'm so tired. It was the
drink some C4 and do your taxes with Intuit TurboTax.
It's great.
Inside joke.
Quickly,
if you were at
who did Charlotte
WrestleMania.
fight? Who did Charlotte
Rhea
fight?
Ripley.
Rhea Ripley.
What would you call her?
It was the
Who's he Fleabag? He loves women. This guy loves women.
I do.
He's going to a women's rights parade in Del Rey on.
So my match of the night was between that and Ray and Dominic, and I've picked Ray and Dominic. That was the match of the night.
Yeah,
match of the night.
And Andrew, you have picked correctly. Ray and Dominic was my match of the night as well, because the story was so strong. And the match was really well laid out. And again, it gave you everything. I'm sorry if I'm repeating it, but it gives you everything you love about the WWE. The athleticism, it gives you the ridiculousness, it gives you the entertainment, and it gave you everything there. So I agree. Night 1, my MVM, my most valuable match was Ray and Dominic. All right, let's move to WrestleMania Night 2. After WrestleMania Night 1, Andrew, as he takes his swig of our sponsor, Coca-Cola Zero, caffeine-free, of course. Night 1 was strong. Going into Night 2, what's your expectations?
Well, I thought it was going to be very, very difficult to match up to Night 1.
But don't tell us if it did. Just lay out your expectations.
I will not. My expectations were middle of the road. I knew that certain matches had potential to be great, and that some had some work to do. So I was a little wary, but very excited to see where certain things were going. So I had cautious optimism going into Night 2.
I agree. For the most part, I mean, WrestleMania Night 1 was very strong. And so going into Night 2, of course, I was excited, but I wasn't sure if Night 2 would be at the same level or top it. And, at the end of, we'll go over each match and we'll give everybody our thoughts as to Night 2. What was better, Night 1 versus Night 2? What was our most valuable match of Night 2? All right, Moody, enough of the talking. Let's go to the opening match. Andrew did call it. I'll give my colleague much respect on that call. He said to me, we're going to go Brock Omos for the opening match. And indeed it was Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Of course, the build-up here is, Brock Lesnar so physically outmatched by Omos in terms of height, weight, reach. They really looked at the data, so to speak, the tail of the tape to sell everybody on the match. Andrew, both Andrew and I had Lesnar. I especially, I said that, I would be very surprised if this match went more than 5 minutes. It might have went over a little bit over 5 minutes, but it's how we called it. Brock Lesnar defeated Omos by pinfall. Andrew, what'd you think?
Well, I got to give you credit. It was exactly what you said it was going to be. Omos was going to overpower him a little bit in the beginning. He was going to try to get the F5 or the German suplex, fail, and then once he got going, he was going to do it and pin him. And that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what we wanted. We didn't want to see these guys in the ring for a long time because neither of them move very fast. I enjoyed it because Brock Lesnar, say what you will, he still gets a massive pop.
Sure does.
Wherever the hell he goes, and that makes it enjoyable. So seeing the crowd really against Omos and for Lesnar made the match better than it probably was for me, or made me enjoy it more than than the quality of it. But it was exactly what it should have been, and I guess both competitors did a credible job. Neither of them did anything spectacular or that they haven't done before. Or I'll say that Lesnar getting Omos up, that's 400 pounds up on his shoulders.
Sure.
That's a pretty impressive feat, but nothing I would expect that someone like Brock Lesnar couldn't do. But it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I think it was good based on the time allotment and the pacing of the match. A couple of things. Brock Lesnar does a very credible job of selling his opponents. This is a combat sports athlete. He was a UFC heavyweight champion. He's no shrinking violet, but he definitely sold the opening segment of the match. Omos pretty much physically dominated him. And again, it's a term Andrew uses, but it's kind of how I saw it, and I think I was correct. It was a paint-by-numbers match. You kind of knew Omos early offense, and then once Brock got rolling, it was pretty much over from there. Omos, I very rarely feel bad for wrestlers in the sense that I'm sure they get compensated very well, and I always say, a wrestler is just one Raw or SmackDown booking away from, getting off the scrap heap. But what do you've now taken a 7'3" Nigerian giant. They started off very smartly in a tag with AJ Styles. Then the next two consecutive WrestleManias, lost to Lashley in a virtual squash, lost to Lesnar in a virtual squash. Tough to sell a dominating 7'3" giant when he loses in such a fashion. What are we doing with Omos, Groo?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think that I'm hopeful if he sticks around, which I assume he will.
Of course.
I think that Triple H will find something good for him. Maybe some kind of repackage. Because that's what you want him to be. You want him to be.
Are we doing another he's off television for a month and then he comes back a la Strowman or Big Show, jobber, squashes again, another slow build until he faces the next really super credible guy and loses again? Are we going to do that whole deal?
I don't know. I don't know what they should do with him. Maybe turn him face or something. I don't know. Because he's not going to be the one that everybody's afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. Didn't he lose to? He just loses.
Here's what
he's the Big Show at this point.
Well, I don't even think he's on that level. Big Show came in with a ton of credibility, and the Big Show did win some big high level matches.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's what I would do with him. I would look. He's got MVP as a mouthpiece. You don't want to include Lashley. Reform the Hurt Business. Let him just hide in this strong stable for a while. Pick your spots in which he's, in matches or gets physical with tag teams, and maybe try to slowly build him from there. That's kind of what I would do.
That's not a bad idea.
Thank you, Andrew.
That's a very good idea.
All right, this is to you. Come on, let's.
There you go.
There we go. We're toasting late night drinks. There we go. I love you, C4. With your carnosine and beta power. And no artificial colors.
You know, Coca-Cola Zero has 0 sugar, and this one in particular has 0 caffeine.
But you hear how deep you hear how deep Andy's voice is. If you remember, we talked about that China study. His testosterone is through the roof right now. Speaking of testosterone, we have the women's showcase: Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. So Ronda and Shayna are the SmackDown Women's Tag Team Champions. However, here, I don't believe the belts were up for defending here, as I see it in the match listing. It says nothing about the belts. However, 4-way showcase: Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeat Shotzi and Natalya. Rousey armbarred. They got the submission. Yeah. Here's my thing. I'll start off because I feel strongly about this match, and it's not about the women, but I don't understand. You're again. This is going to be a spot fest, and I thought the ladies did a decent job of the spot fest. We had some fun moments, but for the most part, the main person in the match that you're looking at, Ronda Rousey, was nowhere to be found during the match. She's outside the ring. And then I forget who it was, but somebody is down, and she just comes in real quick, slaps an armbar, submission, match is over. I don't have a problem with Ronda and Shayna winning, but integrate them into the stupid match. I mean, they did nothing. I didn't understand the psychology behind it. Andrew, make sense of it.
Can't. There's nothing else to add. That's exactly what I was going to say. I actually enjoyed the match, except for the way it ended, and I resented it because of everything you just said. Why, it's Wrestlemania. Why are you?
Whoa!
Seriously,
take the gloves off, everybody.
Seriously, what good? How are you supposed to look at that? It's like forget that it's a slap in the face to the other wrestlers. That's not our business. It's a slap in the face to the fans.
3 years ago, we were at Ronda Rousey's WrestleMania debut. She tags with Kurt Angle against Stephanie and Triple H, and it was one of my
That was 3 years ago?
I believe so.
That was longer than
4 years ago then.
That was before the pandemic.
Okay, so 4 years ago. All right, let's not
feels
debate.
Like, it feels like it's longer.
This is what he wants to debate me on.
All right.
My point being, I thought she had about as strong a debut at WrestleMania. I remember the spin into fireman carrying Triple H off her knees, which shows a lot of. It was just very, very well done in that first 2-year run. So enthusiastic, promos, a great feud with Becky Lynch, Charlotte, this, that, and then she went and had a baby. Hey, all power to you. And since she's come back, Andy, I just feel like something is awry, something is amiss. And I'm putting a lot of it, unfortunately, on Ronda Rousey. The enthusiasm doesn't seem to be there. The promos don't seem to be there. The in-ring stuff is wonky at best. I just don't. It feels like I felt for some time with Brock in periods. Just come in, clock out, get your paycheck, and. If I was the WWE, I would have no problem cutting bait with Ronda Rousey. This last year has just been very disappointing for me as a fan.
She's lost her smile. But another thing about the match, though.
Great line.
Another thing about the match is the ending and the way they do it. It's actually bad for business for the other wrestlers because no one's going to talk about the match and the quality of what the other women did. They're going to talk about Ronda Rousey and the end, which is a shame. So, because I hate to call it a bad match because it wasn't.
Well, listen, CBS.com gave it a C+. It finishes up by saying Rousey did not see much ring time, but her approach to the finish was good heel fodder. I disagree with this writer because I was so upset with. She was wasn't involved. And then she
But
just comes in and
again, he said it. He said exactly the problem that I said. He gives it a C+. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't mention another person's name. He's just talking about Rousey, who was in the match for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole. I mean, he did 2 small paragraphs, but nonetheless, my biggest problem again was not Ronda and Shayna winning. It was how they won and their limited involvement in the match. And I just don't.
We agree.
Like you said, make it a 3-way and have those 3 teams go at it, or put another team of legitimate full-time wrestlers and let them go.
We agree. We agree.
Did you enjoy Natalia's double sharpshooter? That was kind of cool.
Yes. That was good stuff. I've never seen that. Remember I said I've never seen that
was
before.
pretty
That
cool.
was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan still cute as can be.
Beautiful.
I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Beautiful woman.
Intercontinental championship. We have your champion Gunther the Ring General from Imperium versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. I mean, I'll toss it to Andy in a second, but I think Andy and I both thought this had a chance to be match of the night. 3 European guys, 3 stiff workers. We're going to see a lot of red chest in this match. Gunther defeated McIntyre and Sheamus via pinfall. He is still your Intercontinental Champion. We both picked Gunther. Thoughts on the match, please?
This match was great. But again, another one that was exactly what we knew. We thought it was going to be. We picked the winner, so it was predictable, but yet still exciting as hell. There was great drama between Sheamus and Drew. And Gunther was almost kind of like the referee sometimes between the two. But the dynamic between the 3 of them, there were times when Gunther would disappear for a while and let Drew and Sheamus do their thing. It was really exciting. I see a really fun feud between Drew and Sheamus happening. Gunther keeps getting better. I think he's a dominant champion. And I'd like to see where he goes. So this match kind of closed the book on one little area and opened up a couple other doors for other paths for these guys. But they were great together. And I'm not usually a fan of triple threat matches. This was a lot of fun.
This one I felt would go down well. You got 3 seasoned pros. I mean, Gunther is relatively new to the main roster scene, but this guy he's wrestled all over the world. I agree with Andrew. I think you'll see Sheamus and Drew in an extended feud. Beyond there, of course, their lack of kayfabe, hugging after the match in front of all the fans, which slightly ticked me off because I did super enjoy the match. But at least protect the business, please.
Well, I don't think that made it. That was on TV.
But incredibly stiff, incredibly fun. You knew as soon as Gunther came in to pick up the pieces.
Stiff is a good thing. But.
Yes, with the double power bomb, you felt like that was the chance for the champ to win and retain the title. I agree with Andrew. I think Sheamus and Drew will have an extended feud that could run the course of, maybe another premium live event or 2. And I said it to Andrew at WrestleMania. Without cluing in further matches, but where does Gunther go from here? He's laid out all of his competition. I mean, I can't think of a stronger 2 opponents than Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. So for me, I think this is, as a fan, for the first time, I'm thinking perhaps Gunther gets a crack at the heavyweight championship in the future. SummerSlam.
At some point, he definitely will. I believe I'm going to predict his first stop is Cody Rhodes.
Okay, good. And I wouldn't have a problem with that because they have history from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So okay, good. I think that's a very quality prediction. All right, up next for the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair, the champ, versus Asuka. But Bianca Belair defeated Asuka via pinfall KOD to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Andrew, Bianca versus Asuka.
Again, another match that was heavy on spots, and that was exactly what we thought it was going to be. I think we both lost on this one.
Yes, we did.
We both picked Asuka. I thought it was going to be her turn. Evidently not. I do believe she should have.
I agree with you strongly there.
Should have, but it was still a good match. And Asuka really proved why she should have. I, like you, am a little bored of the current Bianca. She I think it's run its course, but evidently,
I think we're wrong. I'm joking, but
we might be.
That's my opinion.
The crowd was definitely for Asuka, and that's what I thought. That's what I felt. Or was that just us?
No. I just, I see Bianca. I feel like her career trajectory is very similar to John Cena. I mentioned that to you at the show.
Yeah.
I feel like she's being booked now as Super Bianca, almost very, very white meat baby face, twirling braids, very, very overwhelmingly sort of positive imagery. And on the flip side,
Bianca sucks. Bianca sucks.
But akin to John Cena, super phenomenal athlete. I mean, she did that one spot where I think she picked up Asuka and like on one leg and lifted her up into the KOD. So she's super talented athlete, super talented wrestler. But I think every wrestler's got to evolve, and so I think she's got to find her spot. It just seemed like Asuka's time, maybe for Bianca to kind of go back and reset that character ever so slightly. I was clearly wrong. Bianca's, it looks like, feels like she's firmly ensconced as your Raw Women's Champion.
At least for another month. But I'm hoping that Asuka gets her rematch, or at least Asuka needs to be a champion at this point. There's no place else for her to go. She just keeps proving and proving her mettle, and she's not getting anywhere. So, it's funny how so many of these matches are good matches with good endings, but the wrong endings. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Well, it was the raw ending for me. I mean, I felt like it was Asuka's time, but
because even the women's,
because my thing also with Asuka is similar to I'm not going to say Omos, but Asuka's lost Asuka has lost some pretty big main events now at WrestleMania. She's lost some pretty big premium live event main event matches. Right. So I feel like they see her as an A- level. Can you hit pause for 1 second, please?
Yes.
And we're back.
Yeah.
One word, Machaca. I made a mistake, boys and girls. My pre-WrestleMania. All right, I'll skip it.
Wait, hold on.
I will skip it. All right. Anyway. All right, so I think it just popped my eardrum. All right, so listen, we just finished up with Bianca versus Asuka. Forgetting Bianca, it looks like they did a backstage interview, really again solidifying. Looks like her hold on the Raw Women's Championship. What do you do with Asuka, though?
That's a good question. Maybe they're just. Maybe they're gonna put these two together again. I don't know. Who else is there? I mean, who's the Raw women? Who's the SmackDown Women's Champion? It's Rhea. When do they usually do this? The shakeup?
Yeah, they usually do a draft. I haven't read anything about it in a while, so I don't know if that's something Triple H will continue. I don't know.
Well, I think they will put whoever they believe will. There's really, like you said, Asuka's been bouncing around like to different feuds and never really picking up any steam. And it's not her fault because she's doing a great job. She's just not being booked right. So it's like they got to make that decision.
Off the top of my head, you know what I'd like to see for Raw Women's Championship? And and she's not on Raw right now, but I think Raquel Rodriguez matching up with Bianca would be a fun match to see.
I'd pay for that.
Me too.
Yeah. What about what's her name? What about what about Rhea? Wait, you said Rhea and Liv?
Oh, no. Rhea Ripley is your SmackDown Women's Champion.
Right.
Liv Morgan, I believe.
Yeah, you said Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez.
No,
who do you
want
to see? You said Raquel.
I just said it 30 seconds ago.
Raquel and Bianca.
Yes.
Raquel and Bianca.
I'm getting a little nervous now.
It's late, man. Raquel and Bianca. So what about Asuka and Ripley, maybe?
Maybe. I think ultimately, again, Asuka may go away for a little bit and when they have something.
Because Ripley's going to hold on to this for a while.
She should.
Yes, absolutely.
Up next, another impromptu segment that started off very well. It was a disaster in my book.
Yeah.
I mean,
as soon as we heard that music,
I know everyone's going to say Snoop Dogg saved the segment, but the Miz and Snoop Dogg again come out. The Miz confronts Snoop Dogg and says, "Hey, you set me up on night one with an impromptu match. I was wearing a $10,000 suit." Yada yada yada, and of course Snoop Dogg says, "Well, let's do it again." And out comes a returning Shane McMahon. Very nice thunderous pop. He comes in, he does his one-legged, one-arm shtick, and then delivers a couple of quick hits to the Miz. And then in the process of doing some strutting and moving around, he ends up jumping, and as Chris Burnett, our colleague, said, his knee or his leg crumpled. It ended up he tore his quad. I can confirm that through reading a couple different website sources. So this whole big comeback goes awry within 45 seconds, and then Snoop Dogg must have read the tea leaves, or whoever was running the segment said, "Snoop, finish it up," and Snoop Dogg landed a lame people's elbow. And listen, everybody loved it because Snoop Dogg's a hero out here on the West Coast, but I thought yet again, maybe even worse than night one, an even more disastrous segment with, again, the Miz admirably doing the job.
Do you really think that that this Shane was supposed to be Shane coming back?
It's a very curious.
Hope the hell not.
It was a very curious choice. Okay, again, when you have a Lashley not doing anything, you have an LA Knight not doing anything. If you're going to do something there, and Shane McMahon left, I won't call it a cloud of controversy, but the big thing with Shane was he booked himself, I think, in the 22 Rumble very, very strong, where he ended up with like the last four participants, and from what we had all read, got a lot of backstage heat for booking himself and producing and overriding certain people, and booking himself extremely strong at the Royal Rumble when the guy's basically a 50-year-old part-time wrestler.
Yeah,
and I think Vince made him go away for a while, so his return, ironically enough, foreshadowing Vince's sort of return to the company. Don't know how to read into that, and don't really want to tonight, but curious choice, and then it just goes completely awry with Shane's leg injury.
Well, I don't want to. You never want somebody to get hurt.
Of course not.
You never want somebody to get hurt. But I see nothing good about him being part of the roster.
But even just forgetting Shane McMahon aside, let's just say everything was hunky dory. What does that segment serve to do? So let's say Shane comes out, successfully beats the crap out of Miz and pins him. I just don't get.
Simple.
I don't see what it does even to the overall effect of the show. I don't know.
Simple. It buys time, whatever time that they needed to set up for the main event, just like they did the night before.
Well, here you're going into Edge versus Finn Balor.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess they just needed a time filler. This was I believe, a shorter night than night one.
Agreed.
So there's that. There's just a dozen other ways you could do it with 24 other people that you have. Why the two choices that they made to get involved with the Miz and Snoop were just very curious, to say the least.
I think the perfect word, curious at best.
To say the least. I would love to ask Triple H, like, why them? Is it? Maybe it's to like not take anything away from any of the actual thing. I don't know.
I don't see it that way.
I don't. Then I don't have any answers for
I
you.
could see in a creative room making a pitch for McAfee going for it. Shane McMahon, now that's one I'll say. You got some capable guys on the roster and you want to do something fun. I would have almost preferred, if you're going to use The Miz and you're going to use him effectively, he's great on the mic. Let him verbally spar with LA Knight for 3 minutes.
Yes.
And let Knight just deck him and off you go. This whole impromptu match was stupid. It just was stupid.
Yes.
Stupid.
Yes, both of them.
For a night for 2 nights that were relatively flawless, stupid.
Yes.
All right, up next, Hell in a Cell. It's Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor. Edge coming out in sort of a brutish type gimmick. And Hell in a Cell, we had a little bit of a wonky spot. Edge throwing a ladder at Finn, busted him open. The medical personnel actually came into the Hell in a Cell. They stopped the match for about a minute or two where Edge had a vamp for time. And the camera, the hard camera just came in tight on Edge, and he threw some weapons in the ring. Apparently, from what I read, they stapled up Balor, and he was good to go. And then the match picked up momentum. In any event, what did Andrew Guthius think? Edge defeated Finn Balor by pinfall.
It was a good match. I liked it a lot. Very exciting, very intense. Edge is just like a madman sometimes. And, Finn Balor did a great job. I thought... I don't know why. I mean, I guess it was a bad cut, or do they just not want to show blood ever anymore?
Yeah, it's weird because like on the WWE Network on Peacock, they show it now, like, and they don't even like do the black and white, stuff. So I don't know. It was weird. Like the camera shot wouldn't even show Finn, being attended to by the medics or anything like that. That could have added maybe perhaps a little drama to it. But I'm glad they got him stitched up or stapled up and were able to finish the match.
But why not just let him bleed?
Well,
I mean they don't do that anymore?
It's a different time now.
Yeah,
Come on.
That's true.
You have bloodborne, perhaps disease.
That's true. Good point. You're right. I didn't think of that.
They're gonna, even the leagues now, NBA will stop. If somebody's cut, they'll take them off the court.
Yeah.
So
actually, it lends some legitimacy to it because that would happen in like a. I don't know.
True. The only problem is that WWE fans are like, the merciless, bullying the shit out of everybody. The poor doctors got to rush and,
Yeah, but I thought they did as good a job as they could have done, deflecting the whole thing. And the match did continue. It was as good as a Hell of a Cell match could be, Hell in a Cell. I'm not going to say great because it's not staying with me the way some of the other matches did.
I agree.
But I remember constantly going ooh and ah and enjoying, never really sitting back and saying, all right, let's move on. So I really, really enjoyed the match.
No, I agree. It was a good match. I agree. I think it was a shade below some of the upper tier matches from night 1 or night 2. They did a good job. It was violent. They kept it in the ring, so no crazy spots, and good use of all the implements in the ring. Edge wins. I think Edge goes on to his retirement tour from here, and we're going to pick the right spots with perhaps other veteran wrestlers or other newcomers that Edge has not wrestled with to have fresh matchups. And I think Finn goes back to the Judgment Day, and we see the next chapter in that book.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. It's time for him to. I'd like to see him get one more run, like where he's near the top. I don't think we're going to get it.
I do.
You think we're going to get him maybe feuding with the Bloodline a little bit?
Well,
that could be fun.
That could be fun. It's funny, you say near the top of the card. it doesn't feel like at times Judgment Day was at the near or at the top of the card, but I think this storyline with Edge really served its purpose well. Like, and there's very few that get the payoff maybe that they're looking for, but Edge leaves this storyline with the Judgment Day. These guys, they're stars now. And it's a top heel faction. I mean, you know, Rhea Ripley went through the roof. Dominic Mysterio through the roof. Finn Balor, I won't say went through the roof, but went pretty close.
He's gonna
Damian Priest is definitely elevated, so I think it served its purpose. And I, for one, when Edge left, I was like, oh, this is such a mistake because it was such a cool idea to have Edge leading this heel faction. And I think everybody had lowered expectations and just thought it was going to be
just fade away.
And it almost did. It almost did, but I think Triple H came on board. Stuck with it, saw some value, and big payoff down the line.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Andrew, the big one, what everyone was talking about for the undisputed WWE Championship, Roman Reigns, your champ, versus Cody Rhodes. Well, let's get right to the finish. Roman Reigns did defeat Cody Rhodes to retain the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. I'll take a pause and a sip of my C4. Andrew, what'd you think of the match, the results, and anything else?
I definitely expected Roman Reigns to win. I truly wanted Cody Rhodes to win. I felt that's where my, like if I was watching this as a television show, that's the ending I would have wanted, because I truly felt that story was being told so beautifully, and I didn't see the value. I figured Roman Reigns winning kind of keeps us in the same place that we are, and
wobble double.
And actually, during the course of the match, which I guess is the best compliment you could give to a couple of wrestlers, during the course of the match, I saw the value in keeping Roman Reigns as the champion, still, because there's still a lot of gas in this particular story tank. Meaning I don't think Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are done.
Well, there's a lot of gas in my tank.
I know.
Machaca.
Machaca. So I am actually, I'm not going to say pleased with the outcome. I'm going to say it's the necessary outcome. My heart wanted Cody to win, but I think Cody will have his time. That time was not tonight, and I think that will end up being the right call. As far as the match is concerned, this match was absolutely incredible. This is on par with the other match I talked about that I'll never forget it. I'm proud to say that I was there to see it. I think this will go down as a truly classic match, and that's a compliment to Roman Reigns. It's a compliment to Cody Rhodes. It's a compliment to everybody who came in and did their jobs the exact way we expect them to. This match was absolutely paint by numbers, but again, it's the comfort food. It's giving the audience exactly what they want and them eating it up, and I certainly did.
But they ultimately didn't give the audience what they wanted.
I mean, as far as how the match progresses, with the ref bump, with the outside interference, you get the Usos coming in, and then you get the massive pop for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens knocking them out. Results wise, yes, they didn't give the fans what they wanted. But at the same time, people were walking out of WrestleMania saying that was awesome, So that's the result that they're really looking for. Not like, shit, Cody should have won. This sucks. Fuck this. That was awesome. So that is the result they were looking for. And as far as the match was awesome. So you can't ask for anything more than that.
Oh, I said on my preview show, I did pick Cody, but I said I wasn't sold on Cody, and ultimately I was right. WWE did the correct thing. They kept the belt on Roman. I cannot speak of it enough. And yes, your podcasting god was talking about Roman Reigns and the Bloodline 2 years ago. Their presentation, they're on something. You could laugh all you want, but I mean, you could. But all this is something special, unprecedented run in the modern era, and I will agree with Andrew. The match early on, a little hokey, a little 80s, heel face, very broad sort of stuff, but again, given the expectations and the storyline going into the final match, and the bells and whistles is what makes a great premium live event, main event match. The run-ins, the entrances, Cody with the kid, the wife, Roman's entrance, my God, it was at least 6 minutes long with the music and the pyro and this, that, and the other thing. And Roman makes a great, great heel champ. And ultimately, I think, listen, it's always debatable. I think they made the right move keeping the belt on Roman for now. And my prediction, I thought, they were going to turn the entire page on the Bloodline to the next phase, and perhaps they will, with the Uso loss, and we'll see what happens from there. But this Roman Reigns run, very, very special. Let's not tear it down yet. I've said before, I want one more year. Perhaps I'll get it.
I don't think you'll get the year. I think you'll get the 1,000 days. I think that's what they want. I said that before. That was convinced. That's why I picked Roman Reigns. I'm starting to see that there might be more reasons that were like all the things you said. But the reason I picked Roman Reigns was because they just won't shut up about this 1,000 days.
All right, so WrestleMania 40, does Roman Reigns have at least one belt around his waist at WrestleMania 40? Because I'll bet you right now, yes.
It should, to me.
No. Yes or no?
It's a
tough
yes
simple
or no.
question.
It's not a simple answer because. What?
Answer the question. Yes or no, does Roman Reigns have a championship belt going into WrestleMania 40?
It depends who he's fighting.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't it?
Good night, everybody. It's a yes or no question. Yes or no, does Roman Reigns have a championship, a belt around his waist? I could be wrong, but I'm giving you an answer. Okay, yes. There you go. That's all you had to say. Yes or no. Okay.
But.
Oh. Go ahead.
Well, I think that if the Rock thing happens, that's got nothing to do with a title. Like, that's the Bloodline thing. So that's the only thing.
And so here you're going to talk about a hypothetical in which twice now we've been disappointed. I'm moving off the Rock. I don't even give me the Bloodline.
You don't have to get mad at me for bringing it up, but that's still going to hover. And it's something you're not going to be able to avoid, at least reading about or seeing. It's not going away.
This is we're here debating. So if we don't agree, doesn't mean I'm mad. I'm passionate. I said it even at wrestling. I'm done with The Rock. I don't want him to come back on this storyline. He threw the little thing apparently out on Instagram. He did his little message, and everybody gets all excited, and then we get disappointed time and time again. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns, it could happen. I don't even care anymore. I think there's enough there that we could see this storyline and have a lot of fun with it without The Rock.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm sick of it.
I couldn't agree more.
Sell out. Fast and Furious.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it's not going away. But yeah, I will give you a yes because I can't think of, because besides in that situation, I can't think of anybody else right now.
All right, so
who would have? I can't even think of anybody else who would have another belt. Honestly, and I like it that way. I want one champion, but from everything that I'm reading and hearing, the plan is to split the belts.
Okay, but that's fine. But just speak from the gut. You know the storylines. You know the wrestlers there. I mean, to me, Gunther is the one guy that I think matches up in the ring with Roman Reigns, where I'm as a fan going, this guy might be able to take the belt from him. So thank you for your. But pivoting off of that.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, go ahead.
Do you see, just like you talk about Cody Rhodes, you didn't see him as the face of the company. Do you see Gunther as the face of the company?
With perhaps in due time, yeah. I mean, this guy worked an incredible match. I think, yes, yeah, I'll say it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't see him as much a face of a company as I do Cody Rhodes, but he's incredible in the ring. I'll give you that.
So where do you see Cody Rhodes? Where do you see them going with Roman and Cody for the next year, just generally speaking?
I think Cody will eventually get one of the titles. I think that they will split the titles before Roman loses anything. I think they want to keep Roman as the top dog forever.
How do you see their titles being split, though?
The idea that I had was that's what you do with Money in the Bank.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, we talked about it. That's what you do with Money in the Bank. Whoever wins Money in the Bank, when they cash it in, they're only cashing in. They have to pick the title that they're cashing in. They only cash in one of them. So, if, let's say Roman Reigns, fought a huge thing at SummerSlam against somebody and wins, okay, whoever has the Money in the Bank can cash in right then and beat him, but for only one of those titles. To me, that's the only way. Like, how else do you do it without truly having him being beaten for a title?
I'm trying to think who won the last Money in the Bank, and was Roman or was the champion?
Wasn't it Theory?
Yeah.
And he got the U.S. and that's how he got the U.S. title.
No, well, he cashed in and didn't even win the U.S. title. So I believe he lost it. So that was when they were resetting Theory. He was coming off of the whole Vince McMahon thing. So
how else do you
I don't
split
know
the titles without just saying, okay, guess what? We're going to create a new title. I don't know.
No, they're not going to do what they did.
It's like combining WWE Universal, make it one title,
no,
and then create a new one for
what they did years ago was they brought in the World Championship, and then Bischoff presented it to Triple H, and that's how they had the two different belts on the two different shows.
Right.
So I don't think that's happening.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll certainly be interesting to see how they go. That's what I like about it, though. There are so many different possibilities, each one of them plausible and good.
So I'm going to go on a limb. I think Roman. I pretty much agree with Andy. Roman. I think Roman will be similar to what we saw the last 6 months. He'll appear on SmackDown periodically, mostly in a non-wrestling role. I think it's time for bedtime. Boy, nothing like looking at your podcast partner. You're yawning. Just the feeling that we're in it together. That he talks about so much, like Billy Joel and Bruce.
Yes.
So I think you'll see that. Here's the thing with Cody. What I would do with Cody is I think we still continue to tell the story. So I think you heat up, you cool off. I think Cody, because the one thing I noticed after the match and as the fans were leaving the arena, many people were still chanting for Cody.
Yeah.
So the popularity is there. And I think ultimately he gets redemption in winning the title and winning it from Roman Reigns, just not now. 1 year down the line, could we see Reigns Rhodes 2 in Philly? I think there's a strong possibility we could.
Absolutely. And if it's anything like Rhodes Reigns 1, I'll be fully invested.
All right.
Because I loved it. So...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this much
right,
like
so what about do we want to do your match of night 2 and then match of the Mania?
Well, I think if you're looking at night 2, obviously you have your triple threat and then you have the main event, and I think ultimately if I was a prognosticator, I can't see anybody else picking against the main event because of the expectations, because of the stakes, because of the bells and whistles, like Andy said, the run-ins, Usos, Zayn, Owens, Paul Heyman, ref bump, Cody greeting his family. It was just everything that makes just a wonderful pro wrestling match, sports entertainment.
Yeah, that's my pick for match of night 2. My match of the entire card, I believe, is still going to be Ray and Dom.
You believe, or is that what you're?
I think. Yeah,
I think
I'm going with that. All right, I'm going with that.
Lord,
I'm going with Ray and Dom.
His wrestling prognostication is like a Meatloaf song. I'm going to go with you, I think, but I'm not sure.
Hey, it's good. Well, yes or no? It's good if you're having trouble deciding. That means the product is where it should be.
Understood, but we're doing a broadcast. People, in theory, are listening to us.
Okay, but we're also doing a broadcast, 2 hours after the
I don't care. We're here. We got to know our stuff. I mean, so your pick is
Ray and Dom.
And it's a great pick, but the main event was just so darn good. And I agree. The Mysterios were great. Tomatoes, but I think overall, just given the expectations and the high stakes, I got to give a slight nod to the main event. But the Mysterios was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I will say this, and I'd like to know if you agree. Of the now 8 Manias that we've seen together, I think it's 8.
Oh, now you're going to put me on the spot? Go ahead.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. Well, I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to ask you if you agree.
Go ahead.
Of the 8 Manias, starting with 10 and continuing with, I think, like 33 up to now, I believe this was the best one that we've seen together. All in.
All in? AEW?
Yeah. Meaning that, between the 2-nighters and the 1-nighters, all the ones that we've seen together from top to bottom, this one was the best that we've seen.
Well, listen, if you have a 1-nighter and it goes into a 2-nighter, it's damn good.
Damn good.
But off the top of my head, hearing that statement for the first time, I would agree with you. Walking out of Mania, I did say this was 39.
This was 39.
So 38 and 39 have been very, very enjoyable. 38 was a lot of fun. Don't think it'll go down in the annals of WrestleMania history as a top WrestleMania, but Stone Cold returning, all that stuff, but a lot of fun. So we've gotten 2 good Manias in a row. But to make a long story short, yes, I agree with you. I think this was night 1 and night 2 overall were packed with a lot of sports entertainment goodness. So I'll finish up with this. Which night did you prefer, night 1 or night 2, and why?
That's a tough one.
Oh, it is tough, but I got mine.
I'm going to say night 2.
Whoa!
I'm going to say night 2.
Go.
Because even though I picked the Ray and Dom match as the best match,
Meatloaf. But I won't do that.
Night 2, I seemed to have more fun, like with that main event, because it wasn't like, I don't know, it was like the Ray and Dom thing on a soap opera level. That's what it was for that. So it was like serious drama we were watching. The main event was like a thrill ride, So it's like saying, do you like going to Disney World or do you like going to Broadway show? It's like I love doing both. If it's about doing things and having more fun, night 2 was more like Disney World. Night 1 was more like seeing an incredible Broadway show. So that's so I'm going to say night 2. I had more fun.
I don't know if I buy that analogy, but I mean, listening to your comments, it's hard for me to go against night 1. Rhea,
it is tough.
Charlotte, Mysterios, Usos, Zayn. The men's showcase was a lot of fun. I think I liked again. I think night 1 was overall just a little bit better paced and a little bit more jam packed with sports entertainment goodness.
It probably was the better night, but I enjoyed night 2 more.
There you go. Meatloaf. It was probably the better night. But I enjoyed night two just a little bit more. We were so young.
In the back of my car.
Well, Andrew, boy, it's I'm kind of sad to say that this 5-6 day WrestleMania Odyssey is over. All good things must come to an end.
Yeah, but we got a lot of great wrestling to look forward to. I'm looking forward to watching Raw on the plane tomorrow, back home.
JetBlue? What are you taking?
I'm taking Air Alaska for some reason, or Alaska Air.
But how, are you going to watch it on your phone?
I don't know. I hope most of these.
Listen, I've been on Air Alaska. Air Alaska is like one of those bargain, like
no way.
Yeah, it's a bargain airline. It's like Allegiant.
Alaska?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't think they do entertainment. I think you got to download some podcasts to your phone or listen to some music.
Great. Well, in any case, but we got some great wrestling to look forward to. We'll definitely be able to squeeze in. We're gonna squeeze in a couple more podcasts before our next in person.
God, we've just been jam packed with trips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't miss the opportunity to do another one. The Craig Hassenbein birthday show.
Yes,
we're going to be doing that.
Are we?
We have to.
Oh gosh. We'll definitely. Well, we'll do.
We have to. All right, but we can't be in the same town.
All right. We're going to do a podcast live from New York. Whatever the topic is. I mean,
no, that's what I mean.
We're going to do a live podcast from Craig's birthday.
No, that's not what I mean. I meant.
Is David Bowie going to play? I'm Afraid of Americans. Thank you, David.
Maybe.
Well, listen. I want to say this is number 6 in a row. It's been a
6 in a row.
Yeah, this has been our 6 minus the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
6 in a row.
6 in a row.
It's been quite a run. I hope it continues for another 6. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. I mean, come on, guys. Phoenix, New U Life Center, Angry Crab Shack, Tex AZ, 6.5 hour car ride.
Chris Burnett.
Yeah,
there you go.
Wrestlecon.
Where is he? Oh, well, he's sleeping.
Homeless encampments.
He's got to work tomorrow.
Friday Night Smackdown, Hall of Fame, walking mileage to the car, and of course, Night 1 and Night 2 WrestleMania. So,
and we found the pocket.
We certainly did. Yeah, we beat the system.
Yes, we did.
We'll probably take our traditional WrestleMania respite and take a week off, and then we'll come back with I think a fresh episode of Van Dammit, 2003 Freddy versus Jason.
Yes, we're doing another crossover,
and we'll go from there.
Yes, well, the future's bright, isn't it, Evan?
The future's so bright, I have to wear progressive lenses.
Very good.
All right, we bid you a fond adieu from Los Angeles, California. Andrew Gruthius, please take us out of here.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us for our WrestleMania special. I'd like to throw a big shout out and thank you to our friend Chris Burnett.
Absolutely.
We've known him close to 30 years at this point.
Absolutely.
And we had the pleasure of joining him at WrestleMania. We were staying at his house. This is his home studio that we are borrowing for this trip. So thank you, Chris.
Very impressive setup here.
And we'll be seeing you around the campus. Everybody else, ladies and gentlemen, you will join us, hopefully, in a couple weeks for Van Dammit. We do a little offshoot, Freddy versus Jason, and pretty soon we'll be back in person again, discussing all things nothing worthwhile with Moody and Groo. And ladies and gentlemen, until then, all I can say is 1, 2, 3...